Hey everyone, Brento here. So I have a question for you. Am I AI or not? That's a tough one. That's a real tough one. I guess it depends at what point you're watching this in the history of time. If you're watching it early in the series, maybe I'm real, but it's possible that you're watching this in the future too, and I'm AI, so who knows, right? Welcome back to Dump City. We have ourselves a very interesting show. This is our big train. We finally got this built. The only way that's possible is if I was connected to our Soviet Los Angeles, miles away. I got actually quite a few trains set up since last episode. But before we have a peek at those and this new awesome rail network, what's in the show, you're probably wondering. Well, I got a bunch of weird stuff, as usual. In today's episode, we'll talk about snowplows where the gravel roads are the highest priority. That doesn't make sense. Why would gravel roads have higher priority over asphalt roads? Well, we'll see why. I have an idea for a new currency trading fund. I want to talk about the Library of Alexandria. You know, a lot of stuff we're seeing in the world today is reminiscent of what happened during the era of the Library of Alexandria. Lots of stupid, powerful people in charge. You rise to the top today not by knowledge, but by aggressiveness and just being born rich. I have an idea for a new Bond movie title. It's just a title. I don't know the exact things we'd have in the movie, but just an idea. I think it's a good title. Maybe they'll use it. Maybe you saw it on this show first. Okay? What if the next Bond movie has this title and you're like, wow, I didn't watch this episode because I didn't listen to the end? It's a good title. I think they might use it. I'm going to talk about a camping thought that will give you nightmares. And this is something I'd like to clip out of the show. Maybe make a short so that people who are camping can watch it and get nightmares from it. I have an idea for a new brand of tar. You know, there's lots of tars out there, but I got a new one. I think it's a catchy name. I want to talk about one of the bloodiest conflicts in the past 200 years. It's probably the second bloodiest over a multi-year span. As you know, probably World War II is number one, and the leaders of today are leading us in that direction again. But World War I is debatably not as bad as this. So something you probably didn't even know of. I just learned about this, okay? I'm an ignorant North American who knows very little about the reality I live in, and I learn things every day, so I'll share something with you that I learned. I think that's all in terms of official topics. Got a few other ones here that will come up as we go. But without further ado, let's get back to playing the game here. Let's press play. What happened since the last episode? Well, I got this shirt that's missing a button here, actually. I was going to dress up as a clown today, but I realized, you know what? We're not ready for that episode yet. I'm just going to wear a shirt that's missing a button, but you can barely tell because it cuts off just at the right height. So, and I like the color of this shirt, so it's worth a missing button. In addition to that, we have a new train here. Look at this. Look how long this train is. It's picking up mixed waste from China. But it loads really slow. I'm a little disappointed with that. And it is grabbing some steel. We got it basically connected is what I'm saying. If you've been following the series, our rail network, our rail connection through here has been under construction for a while. We just connected the final link. So we have one track. This isn't a fully automated setup yet. I'm sort of manually managing the train still because until you have 2 lanes of track, you can't really do much. In terms of money, we have big problems. As you can see here, a few episodes, we had $8 million in ruble borrowing power. Now we're down to 5.5. That's because I bought a bunch of trains, a bunch of wagons, and I had to fix a bunch of stuff. It seemed like everything came up for repair in Los Angeles. We basically are in very bad financial shape here. Actually, we're in the worst we've ever been. We're not going to go bankrupt in rubles, but I'm not as concerned as a few episodes ago, because if it was this situation or a few episodes, this would be over the fiscal cliff. I'd be, I think we're kind of done for. But because we have our rail connection, let's say we go bankrupt in US dollars, at least we can survive. We got a few million in rubles we can borrow with. US dollars? Yeah, very bad. I can borrow 300,000 now and I got 100,000 in the bank. Between episodes, I actually had at one point about a $100,000 borrowing amount. If I had $0 in the account, I was only able to borrow 100,000. We almost went bankrupt here. So that was very close. It's probably the end of the series when that happens. And as you know, it's because of the greedy capitalists who take in interest, which again, as you know, interest is fake money. This is the privileged money that old money wants for lending you their money, because they control the government and they say, governments should not be in charge of financial services. Us privileged people should be the ones who decide it. And because of that, we want extra money for having money in the first place. And this doesn't add up, as you know. Like, we're going to go bankrupt, as all nations do that adhere to this insane notion of getting money for money. I've said this a few times. When you have money, that's your reward, okay? Money is not a tool to make money. You spend money for leisure. You spend money for purposes of spreading it around and giving to others to contribute to the economy. You do not give money with terms that require interest back. Now, you can argue all you want in the comments about that, but the numbers simply do not add up when you do this. You can't have a person with $1 million and someone else needing $500,000 saying, hey, could I borrow $500,000 of that? I'll give you $100,000 in interest payments. Where does the 100,000 come from if there's only $1 million in total? There'd have to be another 100,000 printed for that to work. So interest is what causes bank bailouts in the future. So the US is obviously going to have to bail itself out again, just like I do all the time whenever I borrow money here. And continuing to not see this and continuing to kick the can down the road, that's fine. You actually can do that so long as you are producing more than you're consuming, but the US is not doing that. So there's a high chance the US is going to collapse or fall apart, or socialism's probably going to take over. That's probably the most likely thing, i.e. significant legal changes, which is what this show is advocating for. Wealth taxes is a way to deal with it. There's various ways this can be done, but the idea of getting interest for having money is a scam. It's frankly a scam. It's been going around for decades, if not centuries. With mass media owned by these people, they just talk about it like it's normal, right? And you get used to it, and this will collapse the nation, because the super rich have nothing to do with the nation, okay? The super rich are separate from the people, and, they're the big problem of society. Still, it has interest in it. I don't think modern socialism would, or at least it would be a bank. Like, if as a government, if I have to pay interest, I should be able to collect taxes too, right? That's the trade-off. And the fact most Western governments don't collect enough taxes and they push the cost onto the poor, it's ridiculous. And that's only because the rich make these policies. Again, do not vote for anyone who's well financially backed. That's like the big thing you can do in society. If you have every little battle counts in your community, your mayor, your congressperson, whatever, whoever you're voting for, if they're not significantly financially backed, that's the one. Like, obviously, inspect the policies. They got to make good economic sense. But tax breaks to the rich, you're supposed to tax the crap out of rich, and you have to enforce that they pay the taxes in their jurisdiction to do business there. Like, the way it is now is there's a lot of businesses that just suck money out of a community, and they don't pay taxes into it because they're registered elsewhere, because that community's stupid enough to have policies that allow foreign owners to do business and not pay taxes in that community. It's ridiculous. And this is common everywhere. So these, and this is the downfall. This is not sustainable. Not only is it taking money out of the system, you're giving it to people that don't need it. Like they don't even have a use for the money. It's just incredibly stupid. But anyways, that's a bit of a rant. I wasn't really scheduling that, but I have to do that every now and then. It's worth repeating this message. It's so bad. I have to pause a lot in this game because I can only go a few days without taking out some money here. I've really curbed the spending here. The way the routes work now, we have some new trains. We got 2 big trains here. Some of these class 350s. Now we added another wagon, and we upped our food production here. We are making more money than ever right now. As ridiculous as it is, this is the most profitable we've ever been, but interest leaches out of the system. And I have to be on the ball here to borrow money. Wow, we're up to 400,000. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to borrow the full 400,000 just because this is getting to be quite hectic. It's starting to distract me too much because these payments are getting so big. So I'm going to do bigger ones now at a time. A few other things. Money train. I'm going to change this right away. It's in the scrapyard here, but I'm going to change it so that it's in the depot. I changed my mind. So that's one of the topics of this show was death of money train. But no, I'm bringing it back because I'm going to keep money train around for purposes of picking up new wagons. We have 3 new E350 locomotives here, and I don't want to be using one of those to be grabbing new wagons. So even though it's in bad condition and really old, we'll just keep it in there. We won't repair it or anything, and it will gather wagons as we need it. I've also decided to pause our human experiments a little bit here because of our financial situation. We do have a clinic here. Hypothermia are us, but I'm not going to be moving any people into the house right now. I've decided to uncheck this because of our financial situation. I've also did some reading that people, you do need heat. Like this just won't work. There's enough information out there that suggests this won't work, that people will need heat to live in this house. So I'm just not going to bother. We're only allowed to do these experiments when we're making a lot of money. I set this up when we had $1 million in effective borrowing power, but now we don't. So we'll put that on pause. We also rebuilt our grain storage since last episode. That was quite the project. We had 3,500 tons of mixed waste. We had 12 big waste trucks going pretty much all winter. And we just got this built. It's a little late. I've been buying crops to fill up our livestock farms. Hopefully we don't have to buy crops anymore. And that's partly why our borrowing power in rubles has gone down, because instead of making crops into cattle, we were buying crops, and that's not as good. It's obviously not as efficient. So that's kind of what's going on over there. Although we had a good winter, everyone's doing well. The happiness, I've never been able to get happiness to 80% in any of these buildings. So I am now taking seriously the problem of this coal heating plant. I believe that it is the big problem we're having in the world right now. And I want to, in the next few episodes, blow it up. I think it's affecting these buildings over here a little bit. It's definitely affecting these buildings, and it's preventing us from developing this area. So I want to start a new project with coal, probably in Phoenix shortly. I want to take pollution seriously because I think happiness is critical for profitability in the future. And if you follow the game, if you're not familiar with the game, happiness affects productivity. So okay, here we got one at 80. Wow, that's the first time I've seen an 80% yet. I guess it takes some time. Maybe over the summer it will keep going. Like we can fill this area up here with a few more apartment buildings. But after that, we kind of have to, if we want to use prime real estate and get a lot of residential in, we're going to have to do something here, and that's going to require moving this. So we're going to push this way back, maybe into Inland Empire, maybe even into Phoenix with some heat pumps in between to really, really distance the heat. And as you know, there's coal in Phoenix here. So that might be something for a future episode. What else is going on in the world here? Not too bad of a winter. Last episode, this building got destroyed and the other two were still being repaired after an earthquake. We didn't have any earthquakes, no fires. Everything went smooth pretty much, but just the financial difficulties from lacking, the Houston infrastructure and the cost of like these trains. This was expensive. Like each one of these wagons is something like 30,000 rubles, and the engine's something like 300,000. So I spent probably close to $2 million in rubles in trains. So that's why the borrowing power has gone down from 8 million not too long ago down to 5. But it's improved our society. So in a real economic sense, we'll see how that does. A little bit of a problem I'm having here is I'm a little bit scattered is because I wanted to do a build Dumpovision in this episode. That's why I was going to dress up as a clown and do a Dumpovision presentation, but that's still delayed here too. We have to deal with getting the city cleaner. We got to fill up all these other factories too. We just don't have enough workers. We don't have enough population. Like these buildings, yeah, okay, it's 76%, but why aren't 200 people living in there? We need to fill these up. I'm not going to be spending money on more jobs. We can increase the capacity of all these factories here to create jobs whenever we want. It's not a big deal. But I don't want to be starting new industries with the old industries not efficiently run in the first place. So we're going to be delaying Dumpovision for a few episodes, unfortunately. Oh yeah, remember the Lord of the Flies episode where we had like 7 T-138 dumpers? And we were wondering who's going to survive the longest? Well, many of them, this one's about to get crushed. This is just a random other one. And most of them are almost done for. The last one is, if you took 7, you win. 7's going to be the last surviving T-138 dumper. 1 through 5, I think, are gone. 6 is about to be scrapped. And yeah, so that's the order it went in. There's reasons why the order could change depending on which one gets used more. But if you had Dumper 7 as the lone survivor, you would win. Oh yeah, I want to do another quick thing here too. Now that we've sort of gone over the world here, there's probably a few other things. There's just so much going on in the world here. I don't know where to begin. Like, the heat systems are running good. We got more dumps here. Oh, we're building an asphalt road here. That's another thing that's kind of new. I've decided to upgrade this to asphalt because of a lot of our trucks go through here. And just so you know, when you design a city, it's never smart to put high-speed lines through a city. Like, I love the design of the city. If anything else, forget the fact that the people loaning the money don't live here, okay? They live in privileged territories, or they live out in the middle of nowhere, and somewhere secluded in the mountains or something, and don't want to pay their taxes. But if there's one thing that's positive about this situation, is the layout of the city, where we put asphalt around, and I have no asphalt roads going through the communities. I think that's a good design tip. I watch a lot of other people who play games, City Skylines and Soviet Republic, for example, and they put high-speed roads through their city. That's a mistake. That's just a mistake. You can put it around like this, but leave everything in the middle like this. Watch Not Just Bikes to understand why. Like, this is why we even have an 80% happiness building at all, okay? There still might even be a bit of pollution affecting that at this distance, not sure, but this isn't perfect, right? But one thing that's done really well are these high-speed roads, and this is okay too, because this is an industrial road and all our trucks go this fast. I don't expect many commuters here, and this improves the speed of industry, and it's just one lane in each direction. So sort of working on that a little bit here between episodes. I could actually probably start another leg soon somewhere. Let's go with here. Yeah, no, let's go there, because we still need to get a bit more heat in here. I think next episode we'll try to start in like June. I haven't done that in a while. So there'll be no heat considerations, but we do have a bit of heat concerns right now. We got to keep a little bit of an eye on the heat gauges here. Again, I'm going to pause a little bit more because of our financial difficulties. I can't clown around as much. I am a little bit worried about penalties here. Yeah, but overall, not a bad winter. Not the worst. Okay, let's do a topic here. Random topic. Oh, this wasn't scheduled. I want to talk about an unscheduled topic. Okay. So this was the luckiest thing that's happened to me in the last 5 years. Okay. As you know, I'm very poor. I don't have any connections. I wasn't born into a wealthy family or well-connected family or all bad dice rolls in my life, unlike most people. But now and then, lucky things do happen, and I appreciate the small lucky things that happen in life when they happen. So this is the luckiest thing that's happened to me in 5 years. So I had a leak in my garage roof again. I had to put some tar on it, and I needed a bit of like that spray foam stuff to. I was gonna from underneath. I want to see if I could spray some of that window foam stuff in there to clog the leak, then put tar and see if that works. The problem is that spray foam stuff is super expensive because, again, private families want to gouge the system. They'd rather see the entire community fall apart than, sell these at a reasonable cost. So they'll sell $1 of foam for $20, basically, is what they do nowadays. So I'm like, $20? I don't have $20. I would need hundreds of thousands of subscribers to buy a $20 can of spray foam for something like this. Okay. And I'm like, oh, well, so I asked some people, hey, do you have any, like half a can of the spray foam? And no one had any. And then I had like this premonition from many, many years ago from a previous project when I needed some spray foam. And I just happened to look in this old china cabinet that I have here. I just said, and I hadn't looked in that door for probably 5 years. And just out of nowhere, like just this premonition, I'm like, I thought I had a can somewhere that I bought one on sale for maybe $12 many, many years ago. And I look in that cabinet and guess what's in that door? Of all the things, I'd never looked at it. I didn't even know it was in there for 5 years. Had no recollection. There was a can of spray foam insulation in there. That's the odds of that. Like this isn't something, oh yeah, I had no idea I had this in my house for years. And I needed it. And I was just going to go to the store. It was literally just before I was going to go to the store, I thought of this. And that's one of the craziest things, just this premonition. So if there's a lesson learned there, think about, drawers or areas of your house you never really look in, maybe a closet or under your bed or something, or just something that you're not familiar with. Check what's there. You never know. But that was one of the luckiest things I've had happen to me. That's my big opportunity in life is to find that can of spray foam. It was just amazing that I was like, I'm going to save $20. And it worked too. I've actually done the repair since, and it's sort of fixed. The spray foam combined with tar, it seems to be working from underneath. Again, it was just a small drop, and I'm an engineer, so I'm a pretty good problem solver. And I'll say there is a lot of skill to it. Okay. If you've not done this type of repair before, if you've never used tar before on a roof, you'd have to level up. You must have tarred at least one roof before to patch from below with tar and spray foam, the combination. It's very, very precise the way it's done. It takes a lot of skill. All right, let's just check on things. Let's play the game a little bit here. It's not just me showing the status of things. You want to watch the world. There's so many trucks doing stuff here. Look at that. See, I made a mistake. Oh, no, it found it right away. But let's make this high priority. I don't like these highways. Like, this plugs things up. All the vehicles are going around right now, right? They go all the way around. And in case you're wondering, the reason why I do like little blocks at a time. Oh, we just had another little block finish here. I think we'll do another segment here then. You'll notice too that, oh, that's 2 segments. Darn. Let's just make this high priority and high priority. You'll notice too that I have temporary roads here. Why can't I? Oh no, I can't do this one yet. Ooh, hurry up, finish. Oh, is this the next luckiest thing? I was a mistake. There's no way they can get to the bus stop right now unless this finishes right now. Please don't stop working, workers. Please don't stop working. This is kind of a big problem if they don't finish this up. And I've seen them do this. For some reason, they just stop at one day. Okay. Okay, good. Now they can get to the bus stop. So the bus can still get there from this side, and then it has to go around. So if a bus comes from this side, it goes here, and then it goes all the way back and around here right now. That's why you have to put these. This is realistic mode. Okay, when you work on roads, you have to set up temporary roads in this game. That's just the way it works. And I want to have asphalt all the way up to this end station here. Okay, so there is buses that do go along this line. We don't have a tram set up. Los Angeles is just not going to do that, okay? That's an experiment I'm setting up for San Francisco here. I would like to do a tram service in season 2. We're getting near the end of the season, so... Oh, here's another thing. This is not scripted either. It's game related. Again, I'd like to focus mostly on game related things. I want to show you how to do Metro here. Where is it on my list? I didn't even write this down. Have you ever wondered how you build Metro track in realistic mode? Well, this is how you do it. So it actually branches from, see here? It branches from electric rail. And this is actually something you can do in the basic tutorials. It shows you this, but it's not really apparent how that works in realistic mode. Like, you don't think about this till later. So I don't think the tutorial fully explains this though. So to do Metro, you have to have like a train depot. So what I'll do is, once my Metro line's built, I will get an electric locomotive to go pick up a Metro wagon that I'll purchase at the border, drag it back in, and then from there, the Metro can go out on this line here. Okay? You'll notice Metro lines have fences on, and you cannot cross Metro lines with roads. Okay? That's one of the elements to them. But this little bit here is required. So this isn't fully explained. I cannot just start building Metro lines through the depot. You have to connect on the other side of it via another piece of track. Oh, and you can't see, here's the other thing that really will confuse you. See this here? Let's say okay, so I can add Metro. See, this is Metro that comes off from a line. You think I can splice Metro off here? Do you think that's possible? No, it's not possible. That's the thing that's confusing. Metro cannot be spliced off an electric track this way, but if the electric track is dedicated in one direction, that's how you build realistic mode Metro. You have to have space to do this. There has to be connections all around your depot like this with a dedicated line. You can't just do that. So that probably, there's someone watching this going, oh my God, I wish I would have known that. And maybe someone spent a lot of money and maybe they ruined their game or something because they didn't. And that's kind of weird why you can't do that. Because like, I get it that the fence itself could cut off the main line. I get that. But you don't have to make that, like the fence could start here and go all the way like this, one splicing. So I don't really fully get the logic as to why it needs to be a dedicated line like that, but that's just how it works. I can check my audio and video status. I know how to do that now. I'm less of a noob. I'm a pro streamer now, right? This is my profession, and I'm a big deal in the entertainment world, right? Gotta gaslight you. That's just how it works. That's how Hollywood works. The authority of Hollywood is not in the money or knowledge of the people in charge. It is in the gaslighting. It's in the repetition of it. It's just them claiming to be an authoritative figure ad nauseum. That's just how authority works in society. And you just believe it. Authority is earned through gaslighting. It's just through repetition and title. Title will give authority too. It doesn't mean anything. If people who follow authority are just suckers. I actually need to build some track over here to start this bridge into the other quadrant of the city, but I want to do that between episodes because that's going to require micromanaging of trains. And I can't really talk and do that at the same time. So I'll do that between episodes. For now, we're just going to work on this stuff here, I think. I just don't want this segment and this segment built. These segments can all get built here. Once this highway's been all upgraded, we can get rid of this road again. It was the only way to get to that bus stop. So, oh well. I like boring 400,000 at a time. I'll tell you, between episodes, I was boring 100,000 at a time. It's like every day. Every day I gotta pause. So maybe I'm pausing too much now because I'm so used to this situation. Our population is, I think, at an all-time high. We're gonna hit 15,000 by next episode for sure, unless we get another. I think we're not due for earthquakes for a while. That's part of it too. We were hit with 4 earthquakes in 7 years. Now 4 earthquakes in 8 years. So financially speaking, we had some problems because of that. Got to get that palate dry so I can blab incessantly. It's a little challenging, you know. One of the advantages of a talk show is you can sip coffee between questions, but there's pros and cons to a talk show format, and I like this format. I don't know, it's different. It's not a reaction. You know, I think this is higher quality than a reaction video, because people who do reaction videos are, I mean, you're just reacting to it. You're not actually making anything. So how is that better than this show? Like, how can you justify a reaction video being a higher quality show than a show that has original written content and communism simulations? It just seems like a better show. I'm just gonna, like, I don't mean to be arrogant, but it just seems better than like any YouTuber out there that reacts to things. If that gets 1 million views, watch the original video at least. Why do you need some other influencer you trust to react to something for you? Like, I get it. Maybe if they condense it, and actually, I'll be honest, that's sometimes why I watch some of these other formats, is because they do condense it and I don't have to watch the whole thing and they just skip over parts for me. But in my opinion, a show like this is just better. Like, with actual, you know, gameplay from the person talking and a list of idiotic topics to go alongside. Okay. So here's a camping thought to give you nightmares. Are you out camping right now? Are you out in the forest? Are you in a tent maybe? Maybe you're in a cabin. You're isolated. You got your internet. You're able to watch Dump City, the best show on YouTube, and, you know, watching some clips. Maybe this story sort of intrigued you, just the description of it. Are there bears where you're sleeping near your tent? So here's just something to be mindful of. This will be nice and quick. If you've seen a bear in your area where you hike, where you camp, maybe, you know, once a year, just be aware that bears can smell 1,000 times better than you can. And every time you see one bear, there's 1,000 times they've seen you and you didn't notice. So just keep this in mind. This will hopefully prevent you from sleeping. You'll wake up in the middle of the night with this thought, thanks to me just ruining everything for you. So just remember, when a bear sees you in the woods, they categorize you by your sleep schedule. That's right, bears will show up and hunt at night, and they really do that. They know humans sleep at night, and that's when they are looking for you. So that noise in the trees, it's probably what you think it is. Okay, let's see how that does. What's the topic, right? I can't do the same thing every show. What do you expect? Do you expect me to do the dad jokes ad nauseum? I hate dad jokes. They sicken me. I cannot stand dad jokes. Most of them. Like, once in a while it's okay. Maybe you're a rich person. Maybe you're Elon Musk watching this show right now, and you cannot believe people watch this show. I've probably said some things pretty mean about you, Elon. I apologize. I didn't like, it was nothing personal. It was just a bit, okay? I complain with the actions of a lot of people. In fact, my last episode talking about SpaceX, you might not like. I said going to Mars was basically a huge waste of taxpayer dollars. It's ridiculous. It's just idiotic that is being done. If you're watching the series, imagine if I was to build Dumpovision. You know, I was talking about building the Dumpovision facility. Where is Dumpovision? Oh, here it is. If I was to build the electronics facility in this episode, the game would be over. It would be I'm spending out of order, right? And that's why SpaceX is foolish to go to Mars this soon, because it's spending out of order. It's not the immediate concern that that money should be spent on, but the super rich among us. Sorry, Elon. I know what you want to do some research, but finding Planet X is pretty cool too. In fact, that's way cooler. Okay, let's pause here. We just had a discovery. I was blabbing and I didn't get to do anything about it. There's a few more things I want to do on that thought to give you nightmares camping bit, but I dragged it on too long and I was getting worried I was going to go bankrupt, so I couldn't go so long here. I started researching some gas stuff here, so I may as well just finish it off. Let's do the refinery. Oh my, a little bit of indigestion. I had a ton of pasta. I should have a bit more energy than normal. Kick in, at least in the second half of the show. As you know how this game works here is, like here, I'll show you. In this university, see there's students in the auditorium? See that? That's because I have the max amount of jobs filled out and it's still not enough. And these students are so stupid, they don't know to go to this university over here. But maybe they're just too poor to go to capitalist university because only the rich kids go to this one. It's called a business school and it specializes in scamming people. Paywalls are the modern economic system. Steal from the poor. Who cares if your nation goes bankrupt? Who cares if your nation cannot sell anything outside its borders and it's only selling to the poor through paywalls? There's no consequences to that, is there? I don't know what's wrong with me today. Maybe too much pasta, too much silliness. I want to talk about top priority gravel snowplows. I don't know why I advertise that as a main topic, just because maybe you play the game. This is for someone who's playing the game that's watching the show. So if you don't play the game, you might still find this interesting because, we have snowplows in the game. They plow on roads. See here? Here's a snowplow. And usually in these technical offices, so they go, as soon as the snow falls, they have a priority scheme here. So this is the winter maintenance priority. Okay, so a bit of a pro tip, always set your mud roads to 0. I didn't even know that when I started the series. I was using the signs that says no snowplows, but you still need the signs for no snowplows on certain gravel roads too, okay? But if it's a mud road, you don't need the sign. And you can't even put the sign on there. So the asphalt roads here are going to be lower priority than the gravel road. Now, it's not like you're not plowing the asphalt road, but this one prioritizes gravel roads. And you're like, why would you do that? The asphalt's more important. Well, it's because there's only 2 snowplows here, and they're not going to go this way because there's mud in this direction. So they're only going to go gravel here anyways. They're going to go gravel here. And this is the only technical office that sort of services this region, which is all gravel. And yeah, okay, there's some asphalt here, and it can plow the asphalt. But this technical office here has so many snowplows. This one here does the asphalt road. So this one will go up to here because we just have more snowplows over here. Here, if we only have 2, we don't want them to be redundantly serving an area like this that has snowplows. And we have some snowplows here in this technical office as well, right? Garbage Central. So we want these snowplows to only go here. And by setting gravel as the highest priority, it will do those first. So we'll do what it can here because these are the only ones that can do this area, which we do have some vehicles that occasionally go through. Like our construction office is regularly connecting to Houston to help out with these tower cranes for rebuilding, grain storages or whatever, right? Just so you understand, this is a cool setup. This is a tunnel here. So the gravel goes up here, then here, and then it goes underneath the highway here, and then it plows here, here, and it goes over here. It won't do this mud stuff here. This mud stuff, I should probably take it out. It's It might even be causing some problems. I don't think anything should be using that. But yeah, this is a gravel road. I love this. This is actually a really nice setup for the services so they can get in the city without any other trucks in the way. It's just nice to have, a distribution office, a technical office, and a construction office with sort of priority access into the city in one corner rather than having to go through the freeway traffic. This was built between episodes too. It's a nice apartment building. We didn't have enough tutors in this orphanage. And I think it was just because we just didn't have enough people living in this area here. So we'll see how this works. One other thing I wanted to do this episode, I want to briefly go over the transit system here. Because I never really discussed this, how the transit works in this game. We have basically a few loops here. Okay, this is how transit works in a big city. Okay, so the way I do it is one major loop through the residential area and into an industrial area. Okay, I call it just a transit route if it has at least 4 stops. Okay, so 5 or more, it's called a transit route. If it's less than 5, I call it a transit express route. And what I like to do is I like to do clockwise and counterclockwise whenever possible, mirrored kind of routes. But some of them, so 1 and 2 are a mirrored clockwise and counterclockwise. You can sort of see the green line there, right? How it goes one way, and it's the same route in both directions. Route 3 is a similar route, but it's much shorter. Okay, and it goes clockwise and counterclockwise. Route 5 is a linear one. It goes from zone to zone with a lot of stops. And the way some of it is customized. So based on where I go, like for example, going from this stop to this stop, there are no passenger services. So at stop 3, it does not pick up students or passengers. So I sort of customize it. But these kind of linear routes don't mirror. Okay, I'll just put more buses on the route. Line 6 is also a bit of a linear route. It's not quite the same. It goes to this district here. I always forget to turn off that coffee machine. But the point is, each of these routes, depending on what their next stops are, is I customize them, knowing that sometimes passengers should be picked up and some shouldn't. So this is how you ensure your civilization or your city efficiently moves its people around. You constantly got to be doing this. The fact that I have, 7 people without a job is because I have good transit, that people can find jobs easily in this world. It's like if they get born into the world, they'll find a job right away. And if I notice bus stops start queuing up too many workers, this LA Transit 7 was so popular, like with all these apartment buildings, that I've added 3 buses for it. Okay. Now, honestly, this might work better with trams, but for this world, we're doing buses. And one of the good things about buses is the speed of them. The express routes, however, they let you do like very specific routes. So 1 and 2 are very, very short loop, because this is a very, very busy bus stop. So many, like there are buses going at this stop nonstop. Like there's almost always gonna be a bus in this bus stop. It's rare. This bus is probably going. It is. Yeah, it's about to turn in there. It's rare not to have a bus in this bus stop. So this is because it's such a concentrated loop that it's just one bus on each route to ensure that people can really quickly get to work. There's no, getting onto the bus here, then going all the way around here, then finally finding a job here. Yeah, Route 4, Express Route 4. So what this does is, it's basically just going up and down this line and bringing people to the radio station. If you have a big building like the radio station that can fit 150 workers, and there's no real negative, because this doesn't consume resources, there's no harm in just bombarding this with workers. If I see there's like too many workers here, I'll just add another bus on that route so that more workers can get to the radio station. Or if I see that the radio station's filling up and we need workers on one of the other routes over here, we saw some of the linear lines that go through here, I'll add one of the linear cross-town routes. Maybe you could categorize some of the regular transit ones as cross-town, but they can sort of handpicked zones. I noticed here we were getting a lot of workers building up at the university bus stop. And one other pro tip too is later in the game. See, when I set up this technical office at the start of the series, there was no workers in Los Angeles. Okay, but now there are. In fact, this location has better access to workers than our original construction office does, which gets workers from the border. So it has a limited amount of workers it gets from one of these borders, depending on how it's configured at the time. Let's have just a quick peek here. It's rare that there's many spare workers at these borders, to be honest. But this construction office, if you find you have a bus stop that's like you don't want to do a transit route just yet, or you're waiting for better buses to come out, set up one of your construction offices to use. See, this one uses the Hollywood bus stop. So this is a really busy one. So that's another way to deal with lots of workers at bus stops, is to create a near downtown construction office, which will, use those workers up. So just some tips on how to deal with, transit and workers at bus stops. Add loops, add express routes, add crosstown routes, and add construction offices. And I think you'll have a pretty well managed transit system. By the way, this is a bigger train than before. 286 tons of crops. I think before that we had just 3 cargo wagons. So we have 4 in a bigger train. And this train is just dedicated boxcar. We also have another one here that's dedicated construction waste. It's actually overflowing with construction waste. But the way this route's set up is it waits till empty. So it's not a big deal. Now that we have these beast trains, like our ability to ship goods is more than tripled since last episode for stuff from borders because of these trains. Ooh, wonder what's going on with our long train that we saw at the start of the episode there. You want to see it in action? Oh, it is moving somewhere. It is somewhere. Let's try to find it. See it in action. Wonder if maybe it's unloading the steel. It could be stuck there. Oh yeah, it is. Look, it just barely fits in here too. I don't know if I like this route setup though, to be honest, because those wagons, we're not getting the mixed waste delivered fast enough. I think we might have to change that up, to be honest. So you know what I am going to do? I'm going to put this in the depot right now and get rid of steel wagons. I think we can do that safely without losing the steel. I think it just stays on the wagons. I think. If it doesn't, then, you know what? I'm just going to do a quick save here, just in case. Just in case I have to reload or something. I'll reload it afterwards if there's a problem with that. But I'm pretty sure I can send it there. I don't want that train waiting to unload that steel when it should be picking up high-speed garbage. I'm going to set up another train. We have enough steel. It's just a wasting time. That's how you make your economy more efficient, right? Just because a route is scheduled to work a certain way doesn't mean it's efficient. Just it's overall efficient. But for that particular situation, it might not be. Let's put it on the money train here. And let's go back to this train and we'll start it again. And let's get rid of that steel stop for HSG1. Okay. We're using steel very slowly. We won't load steel anymore, and we'll get rid of that stop. There we go. That's the proper HSG1 route. And that will enable us to not have to get as much mixed waste delivered from Canada and all these trucks that have been doing it. Just so inefficient. This is such a stupid concept, but whatever. It's part of the show. Yeah, I'd like to park a lot of these trucks and get them off the road. Okay, look at this. Our highway's getting built in little segments here. Little bits at a time. And I think we're not doing much else either, right? Like, I'm not doing any other buildings. I could do a building. Think we could start a building late in the episode and finish it? Let me see if there's any that are worth doing. Let's grab that. I usually do a building, like as a challenge. But I didn't want to be spending money senselessly. Is there a building we could finish here? We are in a more comfortable position. some of these buildings are creeping towards. Oh, I know the building. Actually, I did want to build this building. I want to build another heat plant here. Do you think we can get this done this episode? Starting this late? Never tried it before. I think it's worth it. Let's do it. Let's do it. I think some of our towers might not be getting used right now. So let's build this incinerator. Okay, let's do a quick topic here. What's next on our bingo chart? Oh, what is your tranche of reality? What project does your government have you on? Welcome to the world. Okay? I don't. That's like, I welcome the world. Where in the world are you watching this from is the question. If you're from outside of North America, outside of an English speaking country, that would be interesting to know. Maybe you're from England. Maybe you're from Germany. That's possible. A lot of people like these types of simulations. Germans love this kind of stuff. Where in the world are you from? What do you do? What? I want to know something about you. You see me, you know about my miserable life in capitalist, greedy North America that steals money from the poor to give to the rich, that they believe that selling stuff to the poor is a good business idea. They plunder. Like, you're probably come from a country that does that too, but maybe it's not quite as bad. Maybe you've got a good job there, right? Who knows? So just, what's your tranche of reality? I've been meaning to ask that. I want to know more about my audience, where they live, what kind of things they do. People don't really talk, they just comment on things usually. They just say, your videos suck, for example. Well, where are you from? Like, what, do you make better videos? Right? What do you do that's so exceptional that you can say my videos suck? I want to know. Not many people say that. I mean, come on. I'm exaggerating a little bit here. Yeah, we have such an efficient construction system that I could start this halfway through an episode and say, we can build this at will, right? This is such, I don't even have to look at the stat. Well, I should probably look in case there is something. Sometimes things do go wrong, but things are in such a state that it's a little uncommon. And let's grab some money, bail ourselves out again. This 400,000, I'm liking this. This is making me feel a little less stressed out, a little more comfortable doing the show. When I was borrowing every single day, I'm like, I can't do a show like this. And I thought I'd have to do the episode like this. Like, this has been rapidly increasing. Actually, let's do a quick check. How good have these rails made our economy? Wow, look at this. We can borrow 300,000 now, and we have 200,000 in the bank. So our total borrowing power has reached 600,000. It's gained. Like, that's how economically efficient we've become at the expense of all those rubles we had to use up to buy these trains. I hope the steel doesn't disappear. Let's just check. Yeah, it looks like it's all on there. We just have some steel waiting around. Sitting good. It's a bit of a waste of money. Again, I was doing a show. If I could micromanage this, I think I would have immediately dropped that off and stopped it. It's funny though that the garbage, I don't understand why this is. I don't know if they're trying to make this exceptionally tough, but this loads the mixed waste very slow at the customs house here. It's very slow. The steel loads seems like 3-4 times faster than the mixed waste. Don't know why that is. But if we get 2 of these, I think we're okay. Well, we'll see. Oh, let's talk about the Library of Alexandria. So, a lot of people don't know their history. And the reason they don't know their history is because every now and then, rich, powerful barbarians they build an army, and then they destroy the history of things because they don't want you to know the truth that society gets taken over by stupid rich barbarians. And the Library of Alexandria, some people believe, might have actually had like the knowledge of electricity, other ancient alien inventions. They did have some artifacts from Mesopotamia. It was around a few hundred BC, and I think it might have been around till after. Like there was two fires. There's a small fire like in 40 BC or something, and then I think it burnt to the ground somewhere a few hundred years after 80. I don't know exactly when it ended. It was located in Alexandria, Egypt. Just an FYI. So what happens is private families form cliques and they go to war with the nations. And one of the ways they do that, they start by taking down the institutes. So what they did was there was a leader called Ptolemy. Okay, it's probably not how you pronounce it. It starts with a PT, like a pterodactyl. And he basically made it so that scribes were shunned. That if you were educated, you're a geek and you weren't worth listening to, and he cut your jobs and made you live like a pauper. Shortly after that, there's no one like maintaining the Library of Alexandria. It fell into disrepair. It didn't have any security guards, and the money that was being saved went to his armies, to Ptolemy's armies. I don't know if they directly ransacked it, but the people who got the money instead decided to burn it down. So humanity fell back behind centuries, right? We could have had electricity, plumbing systems, probably toilets. Actually, the Romans had toilets, so it's funny how we lose this information to stupid people in charge regularly, just like we're seeing now, right? And the beauty of the internet is you can see what's happening in China, you can see what's happening in Southeast Asia, many cities where you're like, oh my God, parts of places in Africa that you would have thought were underdeveloped. That's Africa. I live in a modern American city. But now if you look at some YouTube videos of those African cities, they're doing better than American cities because barbarians run America flat out. And they're still trying to destroy the nation with their reckless spending for their idiotic ideas. And the story of the Library of Alexandria is beginning to repeat itself in different forms. They'll start cutting funding for education. Eventually, you're going to lose the internet completely. They'll make a paywall so you can't see what's going on in the rest of the world. The modern economy of America relies on, pilfering from the lower and middle class of people. And therefore, this is why the nation's going to collapse, because it doesn't sell anything that other nations want. Insurance, for example, that's a scam, right? The insurance scam. Like FEMA could nationalize insurance today, and that would be way more economical, because then you could lay off all the insurance people and give them jobs in industries that produce wealth for the nation. But right now, the way the economy's set up, that's not going to happen anytime soon. And the story of the Library of Alexandria appears to be repeating itself. Enjoy the internet while it's around. At some point, I'd like to petition. Maybe this is part of the petition, this speech, this soliloquy here, is that Dump City should be added to the seed vault, right? As a record of the end of capitalism. The guy who just sat down and called the bullshit of all these people of society and did it, without any funding, without any support, against the wind for this long, against the currents for this long, to explain that we're repeating the story of the Library of Alexandria, and soon the knowledge will be lost. And that's why the seed vault exists. It's independent of world leaders. It's there as a place to keep the records of things, so that when humans, the brain dead idiots get into power and threaten to go to war, but more specifically, to threaten the end of knowledge, that once the knowledge is lost in our regular institutes, which will eventually get destroyed, we need a backup institute that's a vault. It's basically just a storage facility. So I'm going to petition that Dump City get added to the seed vault in the future to tell this story of the Library of Alexandria, which could also completely get lost in the records of time if we don't back up this information. This notion that humans destroy knowledge for personal profit is a real thing. Humans are stupid apes. And until we come up with legal systems that prevent these stupid apes from getting into power, there's a risk to the world. And we don't want the Library of Alexandria story to repeat itself. Uh-oh, we have a problem. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We have a big problem. Oh, I did something awful. I did something awful here. Okay, we got to pause this. We got to load meat storage with... let's go with... how much can store in here? 75. I got to do quick math. Quick math on camera. What's 1%? Yeah, let's go with even 1%. 1%. We got to get every... we ran out of meat. Yeah, this is a terrible bit I did here. I'm sorry. I don't mean anything by this, but it was just too funny. I came up with this Asian Humane Society truck, and it's been in repairs, and we're out of meat right now. And it's supposed to be delivering meat to meat storage. I didn't realize people ate... like, this was full of meat before the episode started, and it's empty already. I didn't realize people ate meat that fast, so we're gonna have to add... what's the lineups like here? Oh, let's go with Canada. They're gonna be short on meat for a bit. This will lower the happiness, I think. Let's see how happy they're getting right now. Have any of these ever reached 80%? It's like you just gotta do a good job for a while. But there I screwed up because the truck was getting repaired. Yeah, and I understand Chinese people don't eat cats and dogs, mostly. I understand that. You don't have to explain that to me in the comments. Except for one place that I know eats dogs. Except for one place. But that's probably like... you know, there's people in Canada that eat raccoons, so let's... humans are humans. We eat whatever we want, right? If it's a delicacy in one region... actually, let's put this... oh, we can't repair this right now. Oh, it just got repaired. Okay, let's bring this... we need another meat truck here. Oh my god, so this is a bit of a problem. Okay, that not the worst. It's not as bad as an earthquake, but not having meat in some of your stores, like they just ran out there. They're going to start running out at Eastern Bloc. So let's get this going pronto. Okay, good thing we checked on that. Let's make sure our 2 meat trucks get going. We got some more topics here. Oh, I'm going to tell you about my idea for a new brand of tar. Okay, I did some tarring on my garage roof the other day. Think I fixed it, and I was like, it just had like a boring generic corporate name for tar. I'm like, why don't you put some pizzazz into your naming of your tar brands? It seems like you got a monopoly. You know, who'd have thunk an oil byproduct would have a monopoly on a product? But here's my idea for a new brand of tar. It's called Anti-Life Tar. It is made of the deadest of trees. Okay, so there you go. Anti-life tar. If you work with tar, you know what I mean. Tar is very anti-life. You get it on your skin. I have to use gasoline to get it off my skin. Take a bit of lawnmower gasoline. The first stage, then you put some soap, then you put some water. That's how you get tar off. It's not a... it was dirty, the work I had to do too. So, and would I have bought Anti-Life Tar, though, if it was there? Yes, I would have. I think that's a great brand name. Because it's such a big deal to me, the brand of tar I buy. Okay. You know me. The branding's stupid. It's a stupid, stupid game. Branding's idiotic. It's a fake job. Making brands is a fake job. Just make it so you have limited... like, just go to the store. That's what you can buy. You know, that's it. You need tar? Go to the store. Buy the tar. You don't... learn what the brands are at the store. Don't have to watch a commercial. What a waste. No wonder the U.S. is going bankrupt. Oh, we got some sort of vaccines. Okay, let's give them vaccines here. Let's ease up on the number of employees, though. How are we doing for unemployed people? Not too bad. No one's waiting for schooling there. FYI, when I set this to... the reason this solved the problem, this 1%, is because now, if there's 0.75 tons of meat, one of these forklifts here can get a load. Let's see, it can haul 0.44. So there was just a tiny bit in there that it was able to scrape out. And the reason it wasn't getting it is because it wasn't going to go there unless it was 10%. But I said, okay, let's get 1% out. But now maybe a meat truck will show up soon. And normally these meat trucks here. Okay, wait a second. Wait, we got to fix one other thing here too. They need to be also unloading there. They need to be bringing meat to the meat storage as well. And they'll bring that from Canada. So all these meat trucks are going to move now. They should. Unless I'm a complete idiot. Come on. Oh, I guess I'm a complete idiot. Let's see. I need to borrow more money maybe. Maybe if I borrow money, I won't be an idiot. What's going on here? Why are they not unloading meat at the meat storage? That's a refrigerated truck? Are we not picking up meat? Oh my God. Oh my God. So yeah, you probably saw me do that earlier. You knew I was an idiot. I didn't see me do that. Ugh, okay, well, yeah. I was unloading meat. You know, it's hard to do both things at once, okay? It's a challenge sometimes. Let's see how our late start heat incinerator is going. 600 work days. Do you think we can get that done in the next 30 days? Absolutely. Oh, and we're using up a bunch of steel here. Maybe we could then empty this out a little bit more so we can get our money train's just going to be a work train for a bit. I'm going to run that to the ground, I think. Like, you kind of need a train like that. Anyways. Let's shut down other heat plant too. Not really needed anymore. Unnecessary jobs being created. Oh yeah, it's 23 Celsius. Close down. Do something else. Work in the radio station. I like this combination that when they drop off at the bus stop, that you have something like a radio station as an alternative place to work. Just because it's a big building and it's no harm in having extra people working at the radio station. Actually, it's getting pretty full. Yeah, I didn't realize that there were this many people wanting to work there. There we go. No harm in that. They multiply the productivity of everyone else. You know, one of the titles I was thinking of calling this channel was AI Radio. Like, if you've listened to radio, I swear to God, the people in radio are like AI. Yeah, sometimes they have like, oh, here's a story, and that's the good part, okay? But a lot of stuff they talk about, it's like a robot could do it. Like AI can replace most radio DJs. I hate to say it, but it's true. You're trying to pitch stuff again. You're working directly for the finance class, the money people that are running this country into the ground, and you're repeating the message on radio. But honestly, they could hire an AI to replace you too. And that's where you join the dark side. You join Dump City. You become aware of the problems of society. You comment and you become a guest on my show or something. And you get to be a human and not an AI. But I do think that a lot of radio DJs could be replaced with AI. Like the part where they talk about the stories and stuff, that's a little tricky. You might have to bring a human in for that a little bit, but most of the time I think it could just be done with AI. And again, that's just songs on repeat. Whatever keeps you distracted from the reality of their enslavement of you is kind of how it works. That's how radio stations work. But in our republic here, at least, people all have a stake in it. They're working for themselves. When you work at a meat factory and you bring meat in or whatever, you deliver meat, you get benefit from it, and you and the people around you benefit from it. Your jobs, all the jobs in this world here, in a socialist world, are for the people, not for private families that may not even live in your city, right? Which is true in most cities. The companies you work for, your owner, the actual owners that are getting the profit from your work don't live in the city you live in. So it's kind of like, why is your city so crummy and some cities so incredibly beautiful? Like, go to a place like Vancouver, right? That city is insanely wealthy. That's because they take advantage of workers in other cities and bring it into their city. So they steal from the rest of the world, basically, with their financial scams. And eventually everyone's just going to be replaced by AI. Let's just face it. Even the business Even a lot of business is going to be automated. When are we going to have universal basic income? Like, in my opinion, it should have been done 10 years ago. We've been well past that stage where we've needed it, yet we continue to pretend we need to do a lot of these jobs. Like, a lot of them are wastes of time. Half the workforce doesn't do anything net productive for society. You listen to the radio station and you do it anyways, which is so stupid. So stupid. But that's the reality we live in. Yeah, that was an unscheduled rant, but something I was thinking about. Again, that was one of the alternative names, AI radio, where I would, pretend to be a gamer. I'd entertain you while you listen to the background. I get it. I'm effectively a radio DJ here. It's kind of funny, but whatever. I understand the hypocrisy, but it's interesting. I don't think an AI would have said that, though. AI is not that clever. Or am I an AI? Do you know yet? Have you figured it out? Have you figured out the big joke of this series? And you didn't know the whole time? Well, a bit of a spoiler there. Good thing I didn't start. This is such an easy challenge. If I would have started this at the start of the episode, it would have been too easy to do. Actually, we need other dumps. Another roads built here too. Let's get a little bit of gravel here. You always want to build a road before you build a building. So let's get some gravel into this one here. And let's say build this. We'll make this not a high priority. We'll build this too. And we'll build this. There you go. All the parts we need to have a heat incinerator. We actually do have some underground parts of this already built too, by the way. So we'll have to, I'll do those little parts later. I want to get at least, I got to build something each episode. Some challenge build. Even though that's probably one of the easiest ones we've done. But if we start halfway into the show, it's a little more challenging. Again, this is how you maintain your economy. If you see anyone like saying, hey, I'm a pro gamer, look at me, this is how you manage the economy. I do fancy graphics in my show, trust me. And they're building 100 buildings at the same time. That's not a real simulation. They're not going to teach you how communism can work with that kind of nonsense. You do one, you have limited projects you work on at a time, you prioritize them, you have finite capital. And time is money, right? Time crystallized becomes money. I want to get a PhD in economics. I think that's one of the most interesting things that out there. And I think I have some good theories. I'd like to write a paper on UBI, to be perfectly honest. And I'd like to run some simulations. And in fact, I'd like to take this game and make it even more realistic and run the simulations on that and confirm, like model Western society in this game, confirm that UBI works. You got to gather data to determine the side effects. All these people have opinions with no actual data. It's like, well, you give people UBI, they won't show up for work. Some data we have disagrees with that. And once again, what jobs are really needed? Do you really need private insurance companies? Do we? Why isn't that a national program? Why isn't FEMA a national insurance program, right? Mysteries, questions no one asks because you're not allowed to ask those questions. You'll lose your job. Okay, I want to talk about an interesting thing. This is actually one of the most bloodiest events in the past 200 years. And I just learned about this a few days ago. I always thought the two bloodiest events in world history were World War I and World War II, right? World War II being, the bigger of the events, and World War I being the next biggest. But World War I had less casualties than this event. And it was called the Taiping Rebellion. And it occurred in South Central China. And it happened between 1850 and 1864. And it had more deaths than World War I. And I never even heard about this. Like, this is how uneducated people in the West are. if you live in Southeast Asia, I'm sure, even Japan, even India, because it's closer, you're more familiar with it. It's something, and it's happened before, just before World War One, right? So these ideas of bloody revolts are not a new thing. And from what I can tell, this was spawned on by the same bloody story we see repeating over and over. Corrupt people wanting all the privilege and not spreading the wealth. Just a baloney economy where other people take the spoils from others, and it was some sort of rebellion. Millions of people died, from what I can tell, in this rebellion. They just said enough of the people in charge of this part of China. You got monarchs in Europe, kings, queens, but you have the dynasties in China, right? And it's the same principle. You got these arrogant people on top, and the people in China probably look back at this and go, "Yeah, that's why we're socialists now. That's why we have no interest in ever trying a capitalist system again. We know this in our history. We know that enriching a few because of their charlatan behavior and their monopolies causes extreme hardship in society, and they've learned that, and that's part of it. Even though it took many, many decades later for China to eventually become socialist, that was probably one of the big events. And now it's the Taiping Rebellion that occurred in 1850. It went on for 14 years. Most people in America have never even heard of. I'll say 9 out of 10 Americans never even heard of this. Okay, so I got to teach. That's part of it, right? If I was repeating the same thing that all the other propaganda capitalist channels did, you wouldn't be watching this show. All right, we got a couple of more interesting ones. Actually, two of the most interesting ones. The two biggest shockers are coming up. How's our build challenge, our exciting build challenge going? Do we have another heat plant built yet? Where's our... It's getting there. It's a bit of work here. I shouldn't be enabling too many other parts of this just yet either. Oh yeah, let's finish our highway too. I guess that was a bit of a goal. See if we could build this highway. Get another leg of it done here. We got a bus that just went through, so now it can not figure its way back. And there we go. We got ourselves... Oh, we got a train problem. Oh, what is this? What's it waiting for? Is it waiting for the gravel train? Yeah, we should probably park this gravel train. Actually, you know what? I'm going to change the route. I was thinking of doing this earlier. I think it's time to do it. Instead of getting mixed waste, it'll get a bit of coal. It's waiting to unload the aggregate, right? And it's holding up the development of our metro line here. And this that will fix itself shortly. Let's just check out the tracks here. This should be a higher priority. And let's make sure Amtrak can get there. I can't even find my buildings anymore. The world's gotten so big. We'll build that. And yeah, that's kind of cool. We got our little bit of track here. And we could build that after. Okay. And then afterwards, like, this will be a loop. Once this gets finished, there's a train loop here, actually. But I had to tear it down temporarily because of our temporary road. Actually, we don't really need this road anymore. This is done. This is not even needed. I could rebuild it right now in front of you. Want to see me build some track? When's the last time I've been hiring a guy to do all my building for me. Just a spoiler alert. Look at that. That's it right there, I think. Yeah, there's one loop. And we'll go like this. And then we'll go like this. I'll have to double check if we can get our signals in there. Actually, maybe we can't. Actually, I don't know if we care about the signals in there. I'll commit that build later. But that's sort of how it works. I got to look at that close. We do need a room for signals in here somewhere. Actually, you know what? That is wrong. I can see right there that's not right. That there should be a signal right there. I took them out, I guess. Actually, yeah, it's got to go right There. So this doesn't go here. A little bit of... I was looking at some of the older episodes where I was building track, and it's like, all I did the whole episode was just build track. It's like, how exciting is that? Oh, and I'm running out of money. We're running out of money as I'm yapping. I can't see. This is why I don't build track. And that just made everyone 1% less happy because I got distracted for a second. Maybe more. Is this still going to be 80%? They might have been 81%. Oh well. Let's continue finishing this here. Yeah, we need some signals. Real quick. Put that there. And then we'll put... I think it has to go right up close to it. This is all sort of nicely spaced out earlier. Try that. And then this here. And there we go. Nice, perfect circle. Something funny about that, but maybe I'll fix that between episodes. I don't want to spend too much more time, but that's sort of how it would go. There'll be some switches there. Or some signals. Or semaphores, as they're called. So here's my idea for a new currency trading fund. I think one of the solutions to fix the world money problem is we got to get off the US dollar as the reserve currency. I think we need a new reserve currency, which would be a combination of the two, of BRICS. So when BRICS comes up with its new money type, I'd like to merge that in together with a US dollar and call it the One World Capital Fund. And it would be based in Dump City, of course, right? And this would be a trading fund. So the value of it is basically what the value of the US dollar is plus the new BRICS dollar. Okay, this could be one way the US can maintain some relevance in the future, is to unite the money under one type of money called the One World Capital Fund. Maybe there's one called that already and it's not really that, but this really would be that. It's literally that. Basically the two main types of money in the world. It's kind of like you can buy stocks in NASDAQ. You can have the index funds, and it's basically like the average of the stocks. So the One World Capital Fund is the average of the US dollar and the new BRICS currency. Will it do better than the BRICS currency? I don't know. Probably not. But hey, it's an idea. Someone has to do it. Someone should consider creating the One World Capital Fund based in Dump City, and this could protect American interests going forward. Yeah, who's going to keep lending to a nation that doesn't produce anything? What's the point of lending to you? Eventually, Americans got to get to work, get doing real jobs. Instead of, doing insurance, you got to build rail tracks. That's just the reality of it. Maybe someone would find that interesting. Someone might have been shocked by that. Some people go, who cares? I don't give a crap about money and index funds and stuff like that. This is such a lame show. Why do you have these idiotic topics? It's a variety show, okay? I got to do a bit of everything here. It's not always going to be really, really stupid stuff. Some of it's going to be... It's for all ages, too. It's for the markets that are underserved. The people who want to know the truth. You live as a slave. That's the truth. You are a slave to money. Instead of whips, they deprive you of money if you don't work. And if you don't have money, you don't eat. In socialist societies, they don't do that. You're guaranteed food, you're guaranteed housing. Just the quality of it is not as good if you don't work as hard. But you're still incentivized to work. Just like a well-planned UBI system that's, that gives you more for good behavior. If you get a job, you get more UBI. If you obey the law, you get more UBI, right? If you're a registered citizen, you get more UBI, that kind of stuff. But the powers that be want more yachts, and they want to show the other families who the richest family is. So everyone else must suffer for that. These tracks look so crooked. Surely I can do better than this. Okay, this one looks straighter than the outer loop. Let's do this one instead. Let's redo this. Let's see if I can manage to go an entire few minutes without going bankrupt. Okay, at least it's alongside. Okay, that's a little better. Good enough. Good enough for our Soviet Republic. It's not a perfect circle anyways, just, some elongated parts there. And then we can take, actually, I'm going to take these signals off now. Because the only thing that's going in here is the track builder right now, so it can do bigger chunks this way. Where is it right now? Let's see what it's up to. It's heading back. Oh, and the game crashed. Well, there you go. I'll have to reload the game here. It's gotten too crazy, the world. I actually thought about that earlier today. Is there ever going to be a point where the world gets so big that the game actually crashes? I guess we found that. I think it was just something strange happened there. Maybe the track building did something. I might have to redo that last few minutes. Okay, I'll keep, I'm going to keep recording here as I load. While we're loading, let's do the last topic. Let's do the last topic of the show. The game crashed before the end. Maybe devs take note, right? Let's load an autosave, 18th of June. Not sure how much past that was when we last played, but that's what we have autosaves, right? So here's my idea for a new Bond movie. I think, or the new title. The next Bond movie. And I want you to think about this. If you're on the committee that picks names for Bond movies, I want you to think about this name here and why it... Oh, wow. We got a problem with the game here. I'm going to load an older save. I'll have to look at this between episodes. It could be that little bit of track we just did caused a problem. It very well could be. This is the software engineer and me figuring things out. What did I do different? I built some track, right? Causality. It's the most likely cause of what causes this crash. But I'm still going to pause it either way because I don't know for sure what's causing it. Here's my idea for the next Bond movie. It's called Your Money Means Nothing to Me. And it's basically Bond goes rogue. And we've seen Bond do this a few times because he understands that the bad guys are like in the classic style of the Bond villain, where it's the super rich and they're paying for stuff and he's living an opulent Bond agent life, but he's sick of it. He's sick of the nonsense and could care less. And he goes like, if you've seen the movie The Departed, with undercover agent stuff, I think that would be a bit of the theme of the movie itself. But I think the title should be Your Money Means Nothing to Me. And that I think is a powerful title. That gets you that one. Like, it got me, when I thought, I still look at it now and go, yeah, that gets me now. That name of a movie. So let's see. Is that it? If the Bond committee picks it, well, maybe they should at least give me a like. Maybe someone should subscribe to the show. Who knows? Something like that. Oh well. We'll see. We'll see how that works. They're usually pretty good movies. Little unrealistic steps where the car chases and a lot of unrealistic parts, but I think in terms of a character building title, Your Money Means Nothing to Me. I think we're going to have to call it an episode here. Game's crashing. I think I'm going to have to redo that track. I think it's related to that. I'll look into that. See if we can get stuff set up for the next episode. We've got most of our topics here. There's one other thing I want to do, but we can't really play the game right now. So this is a good time for me to look into some of the technical details. You want to get this built? Let's just get it built. If it crashes, it crashes, right? Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to get rid of this. I think this is related to it. And see if we can build our thing here in the last few minutes. I don't think we can. I don't think we can. Let's have a look. 81% done. 320 days. Now I think we're just going to let this one fail. Should we let it fail just for variety's sake? Maybe we've got our highway built though. No, not really. Well, we'll see. This bus, is it working? No, not really. I think we're just going to have to call that an episode. I can't play with the risk of it crashing. If it crashes twice in a row, that's sort of a sign. Why is the top game streamer on the internet having his game crash? All he's doing is trying to build roads. Is his criticism of the powers that be too much? Or is there a backdoor that lets them crash his game so he can stop doing his show? Stop spitting the truth? I don't know. Maybe that's it. I think you can live with this. Okay, I don't have any more. You understand my situation. I can't play the game right now. So I hope you enjoyed the episode. You know, leave a like, leave some comments. Tell me about yourself. I want to know your tranche of reality. What do you think of pollution? What do you think of monetary theory? What's the big problem in your part of the world? Even a domestic issue? Comment below. So I hope you enjoy this episode, and I will see you next week.